Hello from beautiful Shanghai, guys. Today, 5th of October, I came to Shanghai for a day and I'm staying here in the heart of People's Square. I want to show you the hotel. So that's the hotel, and when you go outside, you directly find yourself here in People's Square. As you can see, a lot of people, because now is Golden Week in China, in mainland China, because there's a celebration going on every year called National Holiday Golden Week, and it's mixed with the Mid-Autumn Festival. Mid-Autumn Festival is going to be on October 6th, which is tomorrow. So that's the reason why there's a lot of people. But generally speaking, you can see our different videos on this channel that I posted before. Generally, this street, People's Square, also called Pedestrian Street, is, you know, always busy with people. Because local tourism is also really developing year by year here. That's why you can see a lot of people every day, almost every day. So for me, it's a one-day trip to Shanghai, flying back to Hong Kong today, literally. I came yesterday, finished the meeting, and today evening I have a flight back to Hong Kong. So I read some of the comments as well from the yesterday videos, so let me answer them as well while I walk here. One of the comments is asking, you mentioned that when you apply for work permit under your company, especially when you don't have this bachelor's degree, you apply as a investor, right? And when you apply as an investor, you promise to the immigration office that your company will be making at least 360k RMB a year. But what if your residence permit is shorter than 1 year, for example 3 months? What then? What happens? Well, the answer to this is your promise is still valid. You will have to still keep that promise, because that promise is given for 1 year, and irrespective of the length of your residence permit, you will still have to keep that, basically. Because the residence permit has nothing to do with the work permit. Usually you get the work permit for 1 year, and then residence permit is based on the immigration's policy, specifically that officers handling, your application. He or she might just give you a shorter one just to test you, that's just to see, if you're running the company or not. So every time you go there for extension, basically you have to provide this proof. So let's say you promised that 360 a year, you go there after 3 months to show that your company is making progress towards the end of the year, basically. That's how it will look like, your extension. If it happens, let's say in Yiwu city, as we mentioned, that there are some additional requirements. For example, you need to additional to the bank statements of your company and personal bank statements, you need to also show proof that you are purchasing products from the Yiwu market. But in Shanghai it doesn't exist. In Shanghai you apply as investor in case you don't have an academic degree, and then you promise to the government 360k the company will be making at least, right? And also on top of that, you need to hire at least one Chinese citizen, pay their social security, pay their salary, and you just have to keep that promise. It doesn't matter how long your residence permit is. the promised amount 360 still be met by the end of the year. Okay, it's not for 3 months. So this is how your extension will look like. As you can see, there is always an option, you know, especially when we talk about the work permit and residence permit. I keep stressing that Shanghai is the most flexible, is the most foreigner friendly, where you can apply and most of the time approved. Doesn't matter, you know, your nationality. Well, of course, like we're talking about general, you know, country citizens, not like North Korea or Cuba. Those countries are like, you know, restricted, even from opening a company. But generally speaking, even for Russian citizens, for example, you can still apply under normal circumstances and usually get approved. Of course, the length of the residence permit can be shorter, which is becoming pretty common nowadays, even in other cities as well. Like previously it was exactly the same as your work permit, which is given for 1 year, generally. And you know, year by year it's becoming very common for the immigration to give you shorter residence permit. The logic behind it is to see if the applicant is making any progress or keeping their promise, or you know, really like running the company. Okay, otherwise they will give a warning. We came across with this situations before, where applicant, you know, expected to make some sort of progress, and initially she got 6 months residence permit, but after 6 months the immigration gave her warning because they didn't see any progress. Like literally, company didn't sign any agreements, didn't receive any payments, well, didn't have any, you know, clients. That's why. So you can see the logic of the immigration office. Of course, they want to filter who can enter China, who can, you know, stay. Basically, they want proper business people, like entrepreneurs who are at least making some sort of progress, right? So that's the logic behind that. So if for example your company does not make any progress, as I said, you will get initially verbal warning, and they mention that to you specifically. Look, your company is not making any progress. So maybe, most likely, if you keep doing that, your next extension will not be approved. And then this warning, usually it's the last one. Because in China, unfortunately, for now, you know, there's no appeal system. If you get rejected, that's like this is the end, right? Denied, rejected, that's the final, basically, refusal. And you cannot appeal in any way, so you will just have to exit. Some people ask me as well, like, what happens if my visa is rejected? What happens with my company? Well, I mentioned this several times before in many videos. Company has nothing to do, like running the company has nothing to do with your visa, just like in any country. Visa is the immigration thing, and company will still keep running because company is an entity. It's a separate entity from you. It's a legal entity, right? Company has its own right, so it's separate from you. So ideally, of course, you want to have that visa, you want to be here yourself, 100% running the company. But if you cannot get a visa, your only option will be to hire somebody, like a manager or director even, or CEO, and let them run the company on your behalf. That's it. And you can stay as a shareholder outside of China, or you can still be the legal person, aka director of the company, but stay outside. You can still perform those tasks outside of China, and when necessary you can still apply for your business visa, M visa, and you can still, you know, travel to China from time to time, for example, to go to the bank, to go to the tax office if necessary. But again, you know, having a residence permit is not like guaranteed. It's not given just because you have a company in China. It doesn't work like that. It's just like saying that, you know, I open a company in the US. Sorry, I had to cross the road. So basically it's similar to saying that, okay, I opened my company in the US and then immigration doesn't give me work visa. What happens to my company? It's pretty similar to this situation. You can't be, you know, demanding work visa or work permit just because you have a company in any country. Okay, imagine your work visa or your work permit is kind of a thing that you have to earn. Okay, it's literally so. You have to qualify, you have to apply, you have to go through some checks, and if you qualify, of course, like if the immigration finds that you qualify and you're good enough to come to that country, including China, the same you know, terms and conditions, then of course you can, you know, use that right sort of, you know, to come and run your company. Otherwise it's not something that automatically comes, it's not by default. Yeah, I just want to make it clear because there are so many people who confuse that. There were sometimes actually some people argued with me as well, like you know, what are you saying? I have a company, how can, you know, how is it possible I can have that company when I don't have a visa? Well, look around. This is how world functions, you know. I cannot be registering a company in Switzerland and then automatically claim or demand in this situation that the government of Switzerland gives me, you know, right to work, even for my company. So it doesn't make sense. You just need to get some information how the immigration functions, okay, when it comes to entrepreneurship. And it is universal, not only in China. It's the same thing in literally in any country. Take the US, for example. I give this example many times. In order to like sponsor yourself with the work visa by just registering your LLC in the US, you are expected to inject a lot of money. Like for example, for L1A, L1B visa type, they expect you to at least inject 150 or 100 grand. Well, this depends on the country of citizenship as well, but still. Or take EB5 or any other type of immigration visas for the US, which is sponsored directly by your own company. And in most cases, you will have to create local jobs and on top of that, make a substantial capital injection. But good news in China, at least this part is very attractive. Like, you're not expected to make any substantial capital injection, which is super good actually, you know, in the world's biggest market, literally, you know, one of the biggest markets. Of course, India is now #1 in terms of population, but still, you know, we are in one of the biggest markets in the world, literally speaking. So therefore, it's a good opportunity. I'd say you can just start a company without any capital injection. You know, you can employ yourself, relocate and start running your company if you qualify, of course. Oh, it's a red light, but people keep crossing. So yeah, again, I'd say it's a good opportunity, especially for starters. You know, you can literally relocate and start running your trading company or consulting company, anything. And you can see here, literally, this is the proof that most of the people, they are local people. And you see here and there some foreigners as well, of course. But, you know, local tourism here is so developed. Really, like, you go to any city, any big city, you can see most of the time local people. Because local tourism is very, very well developed here. And that means you can see the capital, you know, in people's hands. People are not poor, especially in tier 1 cities. The purchasing power is very high. Purchasing power is very high, especially in Shanghai, where I lived here for almost 15 years before I relocated to Hong Kong. I can definitely say, you know, purchasing power here is very, very high. It means your margins are going to be very big. And also on top of that, I'd say starting a company, relocating here and running it in China is a great learning opportunity.